Jackers, welcome people from the YouTubes. My name is Roman.
I'm Jesper.
And I'm very happy to be here. And the first thing I want to do, personal message from me to you, is say thank you for making this possible. I'm extremely psyched to be working on Jagged Flashback. It's one of my childhood dreams, I guess you can say that. So this is really cool. I'm the producer on Jagged Flashback. Well, I guess also the one responsible for the design. I'm making sure that we do something you like, we do something we like, we do something that is true to Jagged Alliance, to Jagged Alliance 2 and Jagged Alliance 1, and making a cool turn-based strategy game. That's my goal here.
That's an excellent goal. I'm the lead concept artist, or the only concept artist here, and I've been on the project since the Kickstarter. I did all the art for the Kickstarter, so yay!
So you know him already?
Yeah.
Well, probably.
Yeah. I've been peeking my head into the camera.
As you see here on the screen, this is our diorama scene. So what are we gonna do with that?
Yeah, that's a good question. We got a lot of response from doing the diorama for the Kickstarter. It was actually out in the last week before the Kickstarter ended, and we got a lot of solid feedback for both the style of the environment and also the characters. And we kind of wanted to take that feedback because there was this kind of like 50% liked it, 50% didn't like it. So we wanted to take the best feedback that we got and then go back and revamp it.
Yeah. We should probably mention that we want to. This is our first dev diary, so bear with us in our new offices. So it looks great, right? The topic here of this is going to be characters and character concepts and character design and testing out character shapes and sizes. And we just want to give you a small behind-the-scenes look in where we are at, what we've done in the past, and where we're going with characters. Because characters, the mercs and Jagged lines are so important, play such a vital role. It's probably the stuff you look the most at. You identify with them. So we want to make sure they look good and they transport what's happening on screen there. From a design perspective, to me it's very important that they pop, that you can read them, that they don't hide. I mean, it's nice they have camo on, but as a player you still want to see what's happening on screen, so you want to see where the enemy stands. So there's a lot of things you have to think about when you make characters for a game like Jagged Lines or any other isometric or top-down game. Where you see the camera from relatively far away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the silhouette of the characters become insanely important, and you could see that in the diorama, right? I mean, if we were going for the super realistic stuff, then I mean, obviously you wouldn't have been able to make out anything in that environment. So what we did was go from the diorama to. Do you want to show the first character stuff?
To press F.
Yes. Yeah, right after we did the Kickstarter, we started exploring characters, and these sketches are done almost one-to-one after the characters from the diorama. There were some people there was some feedback that we got that the proportions weren't human enough, or they were too cartoony looking, and we kind of tried to push it into a more realistic, while at the same time keeping it still like action figures, I would say.
Yeah. If you look at this, these sketches, they have a lot of detail on it. And what I want to show is just to give you an idea what they will look like when they're in game, probably. And probably going to be like that big. This is just rough approximation. We have the demo scene where we play around with, where we later show you the 3D models. Yeah. But the point we want to make here is that the realistic look with everything to realistic proportions, realistic colors, a lot of details, texture. I mean, I'm wearing this corduroy shirt. This won't translate in the game.
No, it won't. It'll disappear completely.
So what we're trying is we focus. I mean, this test here, these sketches already give us a good idea of what is it going to look in the game before we even have done anything in the game. Right. So we went with that a bit further. You can see here the character sketches from a front view here, and some weapon sketches, and also how they look in game. What's important, what we realized here is that colors, they are visible, colors in bigger areas.
Yeah.
So pants color, shirts color, and so on.
Yeah, color plays a really big role suddenly when you don't have texture as per se.
And I think the silhouettes, like pouches,
Right.
and different shapes in the clothing. So
Right. Suddenly, I mean, you need to have like a lot of contrast in the character. Like these characters were pretty much with tan clothing, and then the Kevlar vest would be black, for example, and this makes it your equipment pop as well, right? So playing around with the contrast as well is really important.
So there's a lot of these thoughts from camera distance to the actual character models. You have to target situations, but it's also a matter of stylization. I think. I hope the next picture is the correct one.
Let's see.
Let's see. Yes.
Yeah, success.
This is from Jagged Online. For those of you who don't know, it's free-to-play Jagged game. I don't want to talk about the game itself, but about the art here.
Right.
Don't you? Yeah. Because apart from the camera distance, also is the stylization aspect we want to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, the characters here are super realistic, and the environment is fairly realistic. I mean, if you boot up any FPS game, it would probably have the same amount of detail in the environment. And the problem with this environment is that when you have so much detail there, it gets to be very noisy for the player, or for your eye at least, and you start not being able to focus on what a character is wearing and stuff. It just becomes like this mess.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it here. It's like this gray on gray, and especially in these lighting conditions, you can't really read the characters.
No.
Yeah, it's just noisy. It's just a really good word for it, I would say. It's just a lot of. I mean,
one of the funny things that I just noticed with this picture is that that they use a red outline to signify what your character or what the character is shooting at. I mean, that's a pretty cool visual thing, but I mean, it just shows that there's a problem with the silhouette for the characters, right? Because
another one here. This is kind of this brown and brown thing I want to talk about. It's okay, but we want to make it better.
Yeah.
We're going away from the typical war, brown and brown, Call of Duty,
we want to
war scenarios.
Yeah, a lot in the style with the colors and all can tell a lot about like the game that you're making, right? And I mean, if it's gray on gray, then obviously it's probably really realistic.
Yeah.
As you've seen in Call of Duty games and stuff like that. But we want to make it not really cartoony, but we want to make the colors brighter than they are.
Anyway, this is just some thoughts here about the noisiness. What else? Oh yeah, and also about the anti-aliasing you get on the weapons. If you zoom on here, you can see that the shaft of the weapon, it's barely visible because it gets so small. So the actual pixels that the screen has to render this weapon get so minimized that you can't really see any details on the weapons.
Yeah, the object is so small that it's kind of it's fighting with the background as well.
Yeah, so that's something we have to think about, and we want to make it again visible. And if we go back to the roots of the series, no, that's something weird. Jagged 1, you can already see that. I mean, it's 2D, of course, it's different, but also here the grasses, they're much less noisy, they're much more one color. Characters are very stylized. That's also, of course, because we have a very low resolution running it on. But also in Jagged 2, characters are really one colored pants.
Yes. Yeah.
One colored shirt, one colored hair, one colored skin. There's no facial details. I mean, that's something you realize. It's just a few pixels, and because it's just not needed. Really, it's not readable. Yeah.
Right. That's something that we wanted to take with us actually, because given the distance that the camera has to the character and the angle, right? It really doesn't make sense to have any sort of character facial expressions on the 3D characters. I mean, obviously we're going to have the same portraits, but mainly on the 3D model, there's no point in having it.
Where do we go from here? Is there any points to make?
No, I think you said the most important points. Basically, taking it back, being inspired by Jagged 2 is probably been our motto.
Both well, then again, Jagged 2 also does the noise thing, right? I mean,
yes, they do.
The background.
But it's more forgiving since it was actually pixel art. But yes, it was still noisy.
Also, this is what we did. This is our character exploration, and kind of trying to think about if we model our characters in this silhouette, if we model our characters in this look and style, how do they fit in the environment and how do they relate to the world they're moving in?
This is a huge document.
Yeah, so I don't know where we start here. Well, you've seen these.
Yeah.
More realistic approach. And then some examples of real world other games, sort of, and the environment they would fit in.
Right, so basically this document, its purpose was to display to the other team members actually what kind of character would denote the kind of environment that they would live in. For example, a very stylized character, they would probably best fit in a very stylized world, right? I mean, it wouldn't make sense to place the stylized character in a realistic environment because that completely breaks the immersion as well. And well, I tried to find a middle ground for the characters that we have in the game and for the game world itself as well, which meant that we took part of the stylized characters and part of the realistic characters and tried to blend them together to get this, I call it impressionistic, but some people also might call it semi-realistic. I mean, it has many names, but basically taking the best parts from the two worlds, right?
Yeah. We actually tried pushing it more into the exaggerated shapes just to get this readability. Here on the far right you can see it. And as you will just see in a second with the 3 molds, we also tried it in our test scene, and it just didn't work for us that well.
No,
I would say
it was
too big, too hunky,
too silly.
Jagged 2 is a silly game, but it takes itself seriously.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this kind of shading the colors is really interesting because it creates very easy, very hard cut to read shapes.
Right.
Very solid, saturated colors on the things.
I mean, that's part of what we want to achieve with the style, right? Having like these hard cuts for the face, so you can actually see that there's some structure to the face, but there's not actually detail on the face. But you still have it. Okay, you can recognize it as a human face, right? So that's what we're trying to with these hard shapes.
Yeah, we can go on.
Yeah, let's go to.
I think the next one would be the step to Unity, where we show our
awesome
block out, our army of grunts.
Army of clones.
You've seen this sector before? Philip made it. There was an update on the forum. It has evolved since, but I haven't gotten the updated version. Oh, actually, there's new textures on the rocks. But I just hacked this together to show you some iterations on the grunts. So, as I said, we started out here. This is our first guy, and we put him in the scene. We modeled him, blocked him out very quick. And oh, this is great.
Killed the guy.
And he just looked too big, too chunky,
too wide.
I mean, mercenaries are really cool, but they're not superheroes. So we pushed it in the other way, made him more exaggerated. It's sort of what you saw on the right side of the previous sketch. And then we added a face, actually one of the steps also we added it.
That was fairly early. Yeah, I remember it as being very early.
It was very early. And again, if I zoom out here, you can easily see why there's no need to model the face. We played a bit around with adding equipment to the characters. And sort of this is the last approach in this cartoony direction we explored. Right. We talked about it. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, well, it was a fairly long process, right? I mean, we kept doing this for like 2 weeks or something, trying to refine the cartoony shape, but for me at least, it wasn't 100% working. I thought that we could probably push it a bit more into the realistic, but still keeping like the real, like the silhouette being very important for the characters.
So we started change the proportions of the character again here, and then I think what is interesting, what we're still exploring and playing around with, is these hard edges on the face. So you really get this nearly statue-like look when you're up close.
Yeah.
And we hope that you're able to read them very well from the distance. Yeah. So I played around on the overall body, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Just be aware, this is still like block out. It's not a refined character or anything.
It's very VIP, or work in progress, as I should say.
Yeah.
This is not the final model at all,
but we can we take these, and we also did some back and forth to skin them. That means like being able to move them, animate them, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much wraps it up for this, guys. This is just again the Merc army, and this is these proportions. That's what you would see.
That's from the angle.
Yeah,
correct.
Angle, from the angle. That's a screen capture from the game, or from the game camera as it's now, from the prototype. So, I mean, your characters are pretty small. This is just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I hope with this we can give you an insight of why we chose to go in the character style we did, because of the reasons I mentioned. Yeah. Now the next steps are Motion Man. So we have something to laugh.
Looks awesome.
I know. I'm so pretty. Yeah. Anyway, we mentioned it already on the forum. We were playing around with API Soft. We are trying to get it working with the Kinect sensors. We did a test run. It didn't go too well because of a lot of noise. The recorder couldn't differentiate between the floor and the walls so well, the Kinect. It was because we are having this wooden laminate floor, and it actually reflects a lot, so the depth sensor on the Kinect can't pick it up properly. So now I bought like what's this, paper rolls,
right,
and put it on the floor and on the walls. Then we're gonna make another run, and I'm sure we'll update if we have something new to show.
You probably have to upload the videos at some point as well.
Yeah, if I have to. It's gonna be great. Now we just blabbered on. First try, Dev Diary. I hope you liked it.
Yeah.
I'm a bit nervous. That
doesn't show.
It doesn't show at all. No. Play cool. So thanks for watching.
Yeah.
It was great. Better luck next time or so. See you on the forums. And thanks for backing.